بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. طلاب الفرقة الرابعة شعبة اللغة الإنجليزية. Today we will complete process costing system. Exercise: plate clay manufactures golf bags in a two-department process, assembly and finishing. The assembly department uses weighted average costing. The percentage of completion of overhead in this department is unrelated to direct labor. Overhead unrelated to direct labor. The finishing department adds hardware to the assembled bags and uses FIFO costing. Overhead is applied in this department on direct labor base. Overhead in finishing department based on direct labor. For June, the following production data and costs were gathered. Assembly department units: beginning work in process inventory, 100% complete of direct material, 40% complete for direct labor, 30% complete for overhead. Number of units: 250. Units started 8,800. Ending work in process inventory: 100% complete for direct material, 70% complete for direct labor, 90% complete for overhead. Number of units: 400 units. Assembly department costs: we have beginning work in process inventory, cost of direct material, direct labor, overhead, and total cost of beginning work in process. Total cost. Current period cost from direct material, from direct labor, overhead, and the total cost. Total cost from direct material, beginning plus current, total cost of direct labor from beginning inventory and current period cost, total cost of overhead, and total cost from the cost elements. We have note that assembly department used weighted average costing, and assembly department is the first department or the first process. So we have direct material cost and direct labor cost and overhead, three cost elements. The second department, finishing department uses FIFO costing, first in, first out costing. Beginning work on process inventory, 100% complete for transferred in. We have new cost element, transferred in, because finishing is the second process or the second department. So if we in any process other than the first process, we have new cost element, transfer in. لو احنا في اي مرحلة بخلاف المرحلة الاولى هيظهر معانا عنصر تكلفة جديد اللي هو transferred in. 15% complete for direct material, 40% complete for conversion. In finishing department, we add direct labor and overhead and get conversion cost or conversion costing. In assembly department, the department uses weighted average and the percentage of completion of overhead in this department is unrelated to direct labor. So in assembly we separate direct labor and overhead, but in the finishing department we have note that overhead is applied in this department on a direct labor cost, so we can calculate or add direct labor to overhead to get conversion cost. Number of units 100 units transferred in from process number 1 assembly department. Transferred in, this is the finished goods or the completed goods, or transferred out from assembly to finishing, from the process number 1 to process number 2. 8650. If this number is unknown, we get this number from finishing or finished goods of the process number 1. لو الرقم ده مش موجود، اللي هو عدد اليونتس ده مش موجود اللي هو يخص transferred in، هقدر اجيبه من الفينش او من الوحدات الكامله في البروسيس نمبر 1 اللي هي الاسمبلي ديبارتمنت. Ending work on process inventory 100% complete for transferred in, 30% complete of direct material, 65% complete for conversion. Number of units 200. Finishing department costs: beginning inventory, cost of transferred in, direct material, conversion, and the total cost. Current period transferred in. If this number is unknown, we can get this number from process number 1. This represents the cost of finished goods in process number 1. This represents the cost of finished goods from assembly department. So if this number is unknown, we can get this number from process number 1 or from the assembly department. Direct material, conversion, and total cost, we add beginning balance to current period cost to get total cost of transferred in, total cost of direct material, total cost of conversion, and total costs. Require number A, prepare a cost of production report for the assembly department. Number B, prepare a cost of production report for the finishing department. Number A, assembly department, we have note that this department uses weighted average costing. So we will answer required number A. Assembly department uses weighted average costing. We can put the information on this arrow. At 0 we have started units, started units 8,800. We have beginning work in process, 100% complete for direct material, 40% complete for direct labor, and 30% complete of overhead. So we put beginning work in process, number of units 250, from direct material 100% complete, from direct labor 40% complete, from overhead 30% complete. Ending work in process 100% complete of direct material, 70% complete for direct labor, 90% complete of overhead. Ending work in process, number of units 400, from direct material 100% complete, direct labor 70% complete, overhead 90% complete. At the end of the process, 100% complete, we have finished goods or transferred out, unknown. So we can calculate the number of transferred out or finished goods. The report, we have 6 steps. Production data, we have physical units and the cost elements, direct material, direct labor, overhead, direct material and direct labor and overhead. Step 1, we determine the units to account for or the inputs. Beginning work in process, we have beginning 250 plus started units, we have 8,800. The sum of them equal 9,050. This number 1, step number 1, units to account for. Units to account for. Step number 2, units accounted for or the outputs. We have finished goods. In weighted average costing, we can put the finished goods on one line, or you can put the details of finished goods. Part 1 from beginning work in process, and the other part the unit started and completed. But in weighted average, we can put the finished goods on only one number. Finished goods unknown, we don't know the number of finished goods. So the output finished goods plus ending work in process. Ending work in process equal 400. Finished goods plus ending work in process equal units accounted for. Step number 2. Step number 1 must be equal step number 2. So the total must be 9,050. Finished goods plus 400 equal 950. Finished goods plus 400 equal 9,050. So 9,050 minus 400 equal 8,650. 8,650. This is step number 2. Step number 3, calculate equivalent units of production. Calculate equivalent units of production from step number 2. We have finished goods 8,650. 8,650. If we stop here, we reach 100% complete. 100% complete. So all cost elements used 100%. all cost elements استخدمنا او استفدنا من كل عناصر التكاليف اللي قبل النقطة اللي قبل النقطة 100%. So direct material completely 650. Direct labor 8,650. Overhead 8,650. Ending work in process 100% complete of direct material, so both the total number. 70% complete of direct labor, so from direct labor 400 times 70%. 400 times 70% equal to 180. Ending work process 90% complete of overhead, so 400 times 90% equal 360. Calculate the totals. So we have direct material equivalent units equal 9,050. Direct labor equivalent unit 8,930. Overhead equal 9,010. Step number 3, equivalent units of production. Equivalent units of production. The second part of the report, cost data. Total cost and the same cost elements: direct material, direct labor, overhead. Step number 4, calculate the total cost to account for. In weighted average costing, we need the cost of beginning, work in process, inventory. We need total and the details. We have direct material 3,755, direct labor 690, overhead 250. Total equal 4,695 plus current period cost. Current period cost. Direct material 100,000 and 320, 63,606, 27,681. Sorry. Direct material 100,320, 63,606, 27,681. Current period cost. Total equal 191,607, and we get the total cost to account for. Total cost to account for. Total direct material 104,075, 64,296, 27,931, and the total equal 196,302. This is step number 4. Step number 5, cost per equivalent units of production. So we take total cost to account for step number 4 divided by step number 3. Divided by step number 3. Equivalent units of production 9,050 from direct material. From direct labor 8,930. From overhead 9,010. Step number 4, we get cost per equivalent unit of production. Total cost to account for divided by equivalent units of production. From direct material equal 11.5. Direct labor 7.2. Overhead 3.1. The total cost per equivalent unit of production 21.8. 21.8. This is step number 5. Step number 6, cost assignment. In step 6, we calculate the cost of outputs. Cost of outputs. First part, cost of finished goods or transfer out. Transfer out. From step 3, we have finished goods or transferred out 8,650 of direct material, same number direct labor, and the same number overhead. So we can take common factor 8,650 times the total cost per equivalent unit 21.8 equal 188,570 plus the second part, cost of ending work on process. From step 3, we have ending work on process 400 units of direct material, 280 of direct labor, 360 of overhead. Direct material 400 times the cost per equivalent units of direct material 11.5. Direct labor 280 times cost per equivalent units of direct labor 7.2. Overhead we have 360 units times the cost per unit or the cost per equivalent units of direct of overhead 3.1. Cost of direct material 4,600, 2,016, 1,116. Total of them 7,732. The cost of transferred out or finished goods plus the cost of ending work on process inventory equal 196,302. This total cost accounted for must be equal to total cost in step number 4. Step number 4. The total cost to account for. The total cost accounted for. So the total of step 1 must be equal total of step 2, and total cost to account for from step 4 must be equal total cost accounted for from step 6. We have note that the cost of finished goods from assembly department or the cost of transferred out from assembly department to the next process or to the finishing department equal 188,570. This is the total cost of units transferred out from process number 1 equal the same cost of units transferred in to process number 2. This is the cost of transferred out from process number 1 or assembly department, and the cost of transferred in to the next process or finishing department. So the units transferred out from process number 1 equal 8,650, and the units transferred in to the next process or the finishing process the same number 8,650. The cost of units transferred out from process 1 equal the total of units transferred in to the next process or the finishing department. This required number A. Required number B, the same required, but for the second process or finishing department, uses first in, first out costing. First in, first out costing. At 0%, we have transferred in units or started units. Transferred in units in the next department or next process is the finished goods of the first process. The first process have finished goods equal 8,650, and its cost equal step number 6. Cost of finished or transferred out equal 188,570 $. It's important point. Transferred in units of the next process is the finished goods in the first process and its cost. In the finishing department, we have beginning work in process, 100% complete for transferred in, 15% complete of direct material, 40% complete of conversion. So, beginning work in process, 100 unit, from transferred in, 100% complete. From direct material, 15% complete. From conversion cost, the sum of direct labor and overhead, 40% complete. Ending work in process, 100% complete of transferred in, 30% complete of direct material, 65% complete of for conversion cost. So we have ending work in process, its units 200. From transferred in 100% complete. From direct material 30%. From conversion cost 65%. As we said, the units transferred in equal 8,650. If this number is unknown, we can get this number from process number 1, finished goods from process number 1 or transferred out units of process number 1. لو الرقم ده مش موجود، ده بيساوي الوحدات الكاملة أو الوحدات المحولة أو المنتهية بالنسبة للمرحلة الأولى. لو الرقم ده مش موجود أقدر أجيبه. نفس الكلام مع الكوست of the units transferred in. لو الرقم ده مش موجود، الرقم ده بنجيبه ازاي؟ ده عبارة عن الكوست of finished goods from process number 1. At 100% finished goods unknown, we use the FIFO costing method. Cost report. Production data. Physical units and the cost elements. We have transferred in direct material and conversion cost. First step, units to account for beginning work on process inventory 100 plus transferred in or started 8,650. Total units to account for 8,750. Step number 2, the output. Finished goods. In FIFO costing method, we separate the units from beginning work in process and from the units started. So we have beginning work in process completed and the second part started and completed. Beginning work in process completed 100, started and completed unknown, plus ending work in process. Ending work in process 200. The total of output or total units accounted for equal total units to account for 8,750. So started and completed equal 8,750 minus 300 equal 8,450. So total units completed or total finished goods equal 8,550. We have beginning work in process completed 100, so started and completed equal 8,450. So we calculate 8,650 plus beginning minus ending equal total finished 8,550 unit. We have 100 units from beginning, so the remaining equal started and completed 8,450. Step number 3, equivalent units of production. From step number 2 اتفقنا ان في الفايفو انت بتشوف انت خدت نسبة كام وتعمل تو كومبليت استكمال وتعمل استكمال. تعال نشوف هنا transferred in beginning work on process from transferred in 100% complete 100% complete so the remaining equal 0. انت استفدت ب 100% يبقى فاضل لك صفر. from direct material 15% complete so the remaining equal 85%. 85 times 100 equal 85. From conversion we get 40% complete so the remaining equal 60%. 60% equal 100 times 100 equal 60. Started and completed the same number under the cost elements. 8,450 8,450 8,450. Ending work on process 100% complete of transferred in so 100% times 200 equal 200. 30% complete of direct material times 200 equal 60. 65% of conversion times 200 equal 130. يبقى احنا بس مع الفايفو بنيجي نفصل الفينش جودز للجزئين بتوعها، جزء from the beginning work in process and جزء started and completed. Started and completed the same number under the cost elements, but beginning work in process completed we have to calculate the remaining percent to complete the beginning work in process. Transferred in completed by 100% so the remaining equal 0. 15% of direct material so the remaining equal 85% time 100 equal 85. Conversion cost completed by 60% so the remaining equal 60% time 100 equal 60. Total equivalent units of production from transferred in equal 8,650. From direct material equal 8,595. From conversion cost equal 8,640. Step number 4, cost data. Total cost transferred in, direct material, overhead. The difference between weighted average costing and FIFO, we calculate the cost beginning work on process balance. We take only the total amount. The total amount of beginning inventory, the total amount equal 2,301. يبقى احنا في الويتد افريج كنا بناخد التوتال بتاع البيجيننج ورك بروسيس والديتيلز كمان، انما في الفايفو مش محتاجين الديتيلز في حاجه، بناخد بس الايه التوتال كوست بلس current period cost given. Transferred in 188,570, 15,471, 21,600. If we don't know this number, we can get this number from process number 1. Total equal 225,641. Step number 4, total cost to account for, total cost to account total cost to account for, total 227,942. transferred in equal the same number 188 770 15 471 21 600. This is step number 4, total cost to account for. Total cost to account for. Step number 5. Step number 5, cost per equivalent unit. Step number 5, we take number 4 divided by number 3. Number 4, total cost transferred in direct material overhead. $227,942 $188,570 $15,471 $21,600 divided by equivalent units of production from step number 3, transferred in 8,650, direct material 8,595, overhead or conversion cost 8,640. We get step number 5, cost per equivalent units of production from transferred in 21.8, 1.8 from direct material, 2.5 from conversion cost, total cost 26.1. Total cost per equivalent unit of production. Step number 6, cost assignment. Cost assignment. Finished goods, 3 parts. Beginning balance of work in process plus cost to complete work in process, beginning work in process plus started and complete. يبقى الفرق ما بين الويتد افريج والفايفو لما بنيجي نحسب كمان الكوست اوف فينيشد جودز اور ترانسفيرد اوت. في الويتد كنا بناخد رقم واحد اللي هو فينيشد جودز لانه نفس الرقم تحت كل الكوست اليمنتس، ونروح ضاربينه في التوتال كوست واكونت فور في التوتال كوست بير ايكويفالنت يونت. لكن في الفايفو احنا عندنا الفينيشد جودز 3 اجزاء. جزء beginning balance of work of beginning work in process بلس cost to complete beginning work process بلس started and complete. الجزء اللي كان موجود عندنا كرصيد في البدايه خالص اهو beginning inventory its balance 2301 بلس cost to complete work in process. Cost to complete step number 3 beginning work in process completed, we need 0 from transferred in plus 85 direct material. Direct material 85 times cost of equivalent units from direct material 1.8. Conversion cost 60 units times cost per unit from conversion cost 2.5 equal 153 150. So the total cost of beginning work in process 2604. Started and complete the same number under transferred in direct material conversion cost. So we can take common factor 8450 times the total units, total cost per equivalent units 26.1 equal 220 and 545. So the total cost of finished goods equal 223,149. The part number 1. Ending work in process inventory. Ending work in process inventory. We have 200 from transferred in times cost per equivalent units of transferred in 21.8. We have direct material 60 unit 60 times cost per equivalent units from direct material 1.8. Conversion cost we have 130 times cost per equivalent units of conversion cost 2.5. So from transferred in 4,360, direct material 108, from conversion cost 325, total cost of ending work in process 4,793. Cost of finished goods plus cost of ending work in process equal 227,942. Total cost accounted for must equal, step number 4, total cost to account for. Total cost to account for equal total cost accounted for. This example consists of two departments. Department number 1 represents process number 1, and department number 2, finishing department, represents the second process. So the cost elements from the first process was direct material and direct labor and overhead, but in the next process we have new cost elements transferred in cost. Appendix number 3, spoilage. Spoilage represents the units that don't meet production specification. May be continuous loss or discrete loss. May be continuous loss or discrete loss. The continuous loss, this loss occurs fairly, uniformly through the process. But the discrete loss is loss occurs at a specific point and is detectable only when a qualified check is performed. For example, the weight loss in roasting coffee beans would be considered a continuous loss. The weight loss in roasting coffee beans would be considered a continuous loss. We have several methods can be used to account for units lost during production. Selection of the most appropriate method depends on whether the loss is considered normal or abnormal, and whether the loss occurred continuously or at a discrete point. If the lost units of production treated as normal shrinkage and continuous loss. Normal shrinkage and continuous loss. The normal shrinkage and continuous loss are accounted for using method of neglect. Method of neglect. This method excludes spoiled units in the equivalent units schedule. This method ignores ذا سبوليد يونتس. لما نيجي نحسب في ستيب نمبر 3 لما نيجي نحسب السبوليد يونتس بنتجاهلها كأنها مش موجودة. This method spreads cost of lost units proportional over the good units transferred and this remaining in work in process inventory. يبقى in neglect method أو method of neglect we exclude spoiled units in the equivalent units schedule and spread cost of lost units proportionality over the good units transferred and those remaining in work in process. Alternatively, the cost of normal discrete loss should be assigned only to units that have passed the inspection point. يبقى احنا في in method of neglect بنتجاهل السبوليد يونتس من الجدول في الخطوه نمبر 3 وبنوزع الكوست على بالتناسب على الوحدات اللي هي ترانسفيرد اوت والاندنج ورك ان بروسيس. في البديل الثاني ان احنا عندنا نورمال ديسكريت لوس، ان احنا بنفحص في نقطه معينه. لو هنتبع الطريقه دي يبقى النورمال لوس اللي عندنا هنوزعها على الوحدات اللي هي تخطت او عدت من نقطه الفحص. يبقى انا لو فحص مثلا عند 70% وكان الاندنج ورك ان بروسيس ات 60% يبقى مش هوزع عليه حاجه، انا هوزع على اللي عدى 70% بتاعت نقطه الفحص. The all abnormal losses treated as period expense and accounted for on an equivalent unit basis. يبقى الابنورمال كله بنعتبره period expense or period cost. يبقى احنا لو هنشتغل على continuous loss مع normal storage loss in all ending inventory and transferred out units on an equivalent units of production base. لو في حاجة abnormal في نفس continuous loss هنعتبرها period expense. طيب لو كان normal storage واحنا شغالين discrete loss يعني حاطين نقطة الفحص عند نقطة معينة انما هنا الفحص ماشي معانا باستمرار، لو عندي discrete loss يبقى loss in all units past inspection points اللي هيعدي بس او اللي هيوصل لنقطة الفحص in ending inventory and transferred out on an equivalent unit of production base. طب لو في abnormal مع الديسكريت period expense يبقى الابنورمال عموما بنعالجه على انه period expense، لكن لو كان normal يبقى لو في الكونتينيوس هنوزع على الاندنج work in process and the transferred out units. لو discrete loss هنشوف اللي باس the inspection points ونوزع عليه، اللي تجاوز او اللي تخطى نقطة الفحص هنوزع عليه. بكده نكون انهينا محاضرة النهاردة، وان شاء الله المرة الجاية هنطبق عملي في حالة وجود spoilage or normal and abnormal loss. شكرا، توفيق ان شاء الله.